coming here. I'm CEO of Blumhouse, by the way. I'm also on the board of Sundance. I think Sundance is a vital, vital part of the entertainment ecosystem, and I think it's undervalued in that way. And I think without Sundance, the United States would not be where it is in entertainment, and I really think not enough people make that connection. Anyway, I'm really happy to be here this morning, happy to talk with our great Sundance panel. I first came here, I've been coming here since 1992. I first came here, Reality Bites was screening for the first time, and Ethan and I got stuck in our SUV in a snowbank and almost didn't make the screening. And I've been here almost every year since. And it holds a very, very important place in my heart. And also, my business would not be what it is without Sundance. So I'm very, very honored and happy to be hosting this. And now I'm gonna welcome our amazing panel. We're gonna start with Joana Vicente, the Sundance Institute CEO. Joana, you're sitting right here. Woo! Oops. Then we have Eugene Hernandez, the director of the Sundance Film Festival and head of public programming. Woo! And Kim Yutani, the Sundance Film Festival director of programming. Welcome, guys. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
We're gonna try and keep this a little less formal than in years past, although everyone's worried I'm gonna say something very controversial. I'm sure you're all hoping I will, but I'm gonna try not to, but I'm gonna try and keep it fun. I think we're gonna start off by, you're gonna say something about our sponsors who are very important to us because without them we wouldn't be here, so let's start with that.
Great. Thank you to all of you for being here, for showing up. We couldn't do what we do without you guys, so thank you, Jason. And you know, when I saw that video many times, I'm always moved just to see the incredible legacy of this festival. And so huge thank you to our founder, Robert Redford, who had the vision to see that we needed a platform for this incredible work. So huge thank you. Also, just want to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors. So our presenting sponsors, Acura, AMC Plus, Sapphire, Chase Sapphire, Adobe, and of course the state of Utah, our festival host state, Summit County, and the city of Park City.
All right, great. And also I want to thank all of you for amplifying Sundance and our message and our movies, and we couldn't do this without you guys, so thank you. And you guys work so hard at this festival, I know. All right, so my first question is for you. So can you set the stage a little bit and give us some background about the festival we're about to experience?
Great. So, I mean, this is the 40th edition. We're just so excited to both look back and celebrate the incredible legacy. I mean, all of those films that we just saw, like they're part of our culture. And that's what Sundance does. I mean, it's so exciting that we're here when those young filmmakers show up first with their films and we get to know them at the beginning of their careers. And that is extremely exciting. It's always about like super bold storytelling. But really, it also gives us an opportunity to talk about what Sundance does year-round, and that's the engine. That is the work that we do day in and day out about supporting storytellers. And I was just at the Sundance Resort for the Writers Lab. We had these incredible advisors coming back because there's such a circle of generosity because they feel they owe so much to Sundance, and they're so happy to come back to meet the fellows. And as they say, it's also selfish because they get a lot out of that, because by meeting with these fellows, by having these meetings, they also get inspired, they get unstuck on whatever they are stuck with. So it's beautiful work that happens. I mean, we had Marie Heller and Dee Rees coming back to be there for the new fellows. So that's that incredible work, the labs, the grants that we give documentary filmmakers, our educational platform, CoLab. So for us, it's also bringing attention to Sundance as a nonprofit organization that it really is incredibly important for, I think, as you said, for the culture, not just in the United States, but abroad as well.
Great. Also, by the way, I forgot, we are going to do questions at the end. Where's my clock? I don't see my, I don't know, I need my clock, guys, so these guys can ask questions. Oh, you're over there. Okay, good. All right, so Eugene, this is your first official festival it's a great one to start for the 40th edition.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear how you feel about that. Also, I'd be curious to hear, like, it would be very valuable, I think, for everyone to hear, like, how Sundance, you have such an incredible track record and career in this, and I'd love to hear how Sundance feels different to you as well.
Well, it definitely feels very different sitting in this chair than in one of these chairs where I've sat for many years. Look, this is my 30th Sundance. It's super exciting for me, Jason, to have this opportunity to lead this festival, to be here with all of you. I just want to say thank you. Before I answer your question, thank you as well to everybody who showed up today. Our hope in this conversation is to get you even more excited about the movies you're going to watch in just a couple hours. We've got 19 films premiering starting today at noon. That's really what's exciting for me. I mean, watching that video again, and as Joanna said, we've watched it a bunch of times already, but you know, seeing a young Ethan Hawke sitting in the movie theater next to a young Julie Delpy.
That was so cool. I remember that screening. Two of them,
and
three of them.
Thinking back to the arc of just to pick on Ethan, like the arc of that career, and that's what I think has always excited me about Sundance is the opportunity to come here, and certainly there will be opportunities to see films by some filmmakers who you're familiar with, but the chance to walk into a theater today at noon and all day today and all this weekend and to be introduced to someone new, something new. I really hope you'll take that opportunity and just explore. So that's been kind of the thing that I think has meant so much to me about coming to this festival for now 30 years is always being introduced to something new and exciting, always meeting and connecting with people. I mean, we started IndieWire I co-founded IndieWire with people I met on a shuttle bus at my first Sundance in 1993. If I hadn't met Mark Rabinowitz, who I would start IndieWire with, along with Sherry Barner, who I went to college with, and if Sundance hadn't been so supportive all the way along, I know I would not be sitting in this chair talking to you right now.
Amazing.
So it's super
amazing.
meaningful.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Kim, what about you? What's on your mind before this big event?
A lot is on my mind before this big event.
I asked everyone before we started. I said, "Are you guys tired?" They tried to be like, and then everyone said, "Yeah, we're really tired, but we're awake now."
Well, you know, I think over the last at least 6 months, we have gone through so many film submissions. The big story this year is that we have had a record number of submissions, over 17,000. We're showing a tiny fraction of them. We're showing 91 features, 53 shorts, and...
How does it break up with shorts and features of the 17,000? What is it?
Oh, like around 12,000 shorts.
12,000 shorts
yeah.
and 5,000 features. Yeah. Wow.
So it's a lot. We have an amazing programming team who goes through every single one of them, and we put together the program. And I think what is really exciting to me about this year's program is that so many people come to Sundance for this element of discovery, and that I think is really present in this year's program. 95% of our program are world premieres. We have 80% of our program is for sale, so we're hoping for healthy film sales this year, and then 40% of our program are first-time filmmakers, feature filmmakers, and I think that really establishes us as the place for people to come, industry, film fans, other programmers from festivals to really see what this year has to offer.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And also, we are all here in person and excited to be in person, but it would be great to hear, and it's always shifting, it would be great to hear what the online experience or broadcast experience or how people can experience Sundance if they're not here from you. So if you could tell us a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, it all starts in person for these next few days, for this really first week of the festival, the opportunity for all of us to watch films together and give each of the filmmakers who are showing up to debut a work the opportunity to have the best possible launch, the best possible first impression. That's really what we're here to do, because when we get together today and for the next few days, we're going to have an opportunity to help these films launch into the world. And then later in the festival, starting next Thursday, on Wednesday if you're P&I, so many of you will have a chance to start on Wednesday, watching films on our virtual platform. So folks can go to festival.sundance.org, and tickets are available, there's passes, and you'll have an opportunity to watch all the films in our competition over the course of that final weekend of the festival. We'll announce the winners on Friday, and that'll also add a heightened amount of a spotlight on the films that are so fortunate as to be given an award next weekend. But that really is the opportunity for folks who are listening in and tuning in to this conversation outside of Utah to a chance in a very narrow window in a limited number of streams, so get your tickets to watch films on the platform.
I think that's so great because Park City there is not the easiest place in the world to get to. So I think it's terrific that I know. What do you mean? But I think it's great that it was a little snowy, that we've opened up that we've made this experience a little bit more accessible. So I'm very proud of the work that you guys have done with that. Okay, we're going to switch topics. We're going to talk about the gala. There was an amazing, I was there last year when Ryan Coogler gave that amazing speech. So we'd love to have a little taste of what we're in store for tonight. What's going to happen at the gala?
Great. So we feel like we're starting with the bang today. We have amazing films all day, throughout the festival. And then we have the gala tonight, which is a fundraiser for the organization. Again, we're nonprofit. So it's a way of really, raising money to fund all of the incredible programs that our team does year-round. And we're so excited to honor people who are close to Sundance. So we are honoring Pat Mitchell, the incredible, champion for women and storytelling, who was the board chair for a long time. We are honoring with the Vanguard Award Celine Song, who had last year Past Lives, and is doing extremely well with that film that we love. Mate Alberti, who had Eternal Memory, and also a mole agent at Sundance. And then we have Kristen Stewart, who has had, I think, more than 10 films at Sundance. We kind of seen her grow up here, and so thrilled to be honoring her. And then Christopher Nolan, who it all started here with Memento, so great to have him back. And that speaks to really what Sundance does and how meaningful it is as a platform for these filmmakers to launch them into the world.
And to want to come back and support what gave them their start. It's a terrific thing. Okay, Eugene, back to you. Anything we're doing special for the 40th? It's edition, I learned before the panel. Anniversary means you don't count the first one, so that we call it the edition. So, and we won't be celebrating the 40th anniversary next year. We're just selling 40th this year. So anything special that we're doing for 40 years?
Are you teeing me up, Jason?
I'm getting you ready.
To talk about the recent poll we did of favorite Sundance films?
I am indeed. My favorite Sundance films.
Well,
thank you.
The results
my
of
two
that
favorite.
poll.
Yeah. Well, I tweeted it. I've been bragging about it. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're asking me? Our favorite.
It starts
films?
there.
So should I tell that story really fast? So we had my two favorite Sundance moments involve these two films. So I'm very proud. We had two films of the top three films, Whiplash and Get Out, and we had very different experiences with both movies. With Whiplash, I'd been coming to Sundance for so long before Whiplash. I was on the buying side. Famously, I bought Happy Texas, one of the least successful acquisitions ever made at Sundance. Highest price, least successful, so I am very proud. Anyway, I was on the buying side, and I was always buying, I was always, in the middle of making a movie a hit, and I finally had my own hit, Whiplash, which I was so excited to bring here. And we screened the movie, and we had it at Eccles, and it was like, I think it was tonight, I think it was the opening night or the next night. And I said to all of my buyer friends, I was like, now it's my turn. And I sent them all an email, and I said, we'll be at, I forget the bar on Main Street, we'll be in such and such a bar, we'll be waiting for you and taking offers. One company showed up. It was amazing. An hour and a half after the screening, Lionsgate shows up 90 minutes later, like, we'll offer you, $5 for your movie. Anyway, that's what's fun about the festival. That's what's amazing about Sundance is that now it's the #1 movie on the poll, and no distributor wanted it. And what Sundance is so amazing at is drawing attention to movies that would not get attention. Whiplash wouldn't have had the career, the thing it had without it, and Get Out is the opposite story.
Get Out really rocked this
Get
festival.
Out was Get Out was the opposite story. And Get Out, before it screened here, all of us really didn't know what we had. We knew it was different, we knew it was special, but we had no idea what audiences would think about it. And the first ever screening with the public audience was here at the library, and people went crazy. And Obama's daughter was in the audience. I remember that was amazing. And that's what started the whole thing. That's what gave all of us confidence. That's what gave Universal confidence, and Jordan and all of us, like, we have something amazing here. And anyway, those are two small reasons why Sundance holds such a big place in my heart.
Well, I bounced it back to you
Thank you.
because we just did put this poll out, and many of you have been sharing your own top 10s on social media. It's been so great to read all of those the past few days. Thank you for participating in that. We're super excited, and Kim can also dig into some of the program itself, but just look, we've talked about looking ahead, right? We're going to spend the rest of today watching new movies by new filmmakers that we're going to be introduced to for the very first time this afternoon, starting at noon. But we also celebrate the work of this organization and this institute in looking ahead by also acknowledging the past and looking back at that 40 years, as you saw in that video just now, and recognizing those amazing moments and those artists that come back and bring more films to us, or that show up at our labs to help nurture and support the next generation of storytellers. So one of the things we really wanted to do this year was continue looking forward and to honor and celebrate Sundance's history and tradition of looking ahead, but by grounding ourselves in a few of the films and the stories and the people that got us all here, that brought us all together, that connected us to this festival and this institute early on. So we have a few really cool events and screenings and restorations that are planned.
Oh, is that my cue to speak?
Okay. I'm nodding it to you.
Yeah, we're showing, how many films total? I think it's eight. Eight films.
And you programmed many of these
from the
films
past.
for the first time, a number of them.
Yes. Films like Pariah, the amazing film by Dee Reese, and then one of my all-time favorite films, Go Fish by Rose Trochet, Ande Timoner's Dig, which won the Grand Jury Prize 20 years ago. Of course, Napoleon Dynamite, which is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. 3 Seasons, Tony Bouis's film that Joana is involved in. So just the offerings, I think, are really exciting. It's true. It's like the idea of looking forward is also about looking back and acknowledging your history and celebrating those moments.
And if you've never seen The Times of Harvey Milk from the festival's, Sundance's first edition in '85, you'll have an opportunity to see a landmark and groundbreaking and truly exceptional documentary. I hope you can take time. You know, it's really special to go to festivals, as we all do. We're all looking at what's new, whether that's established filmmakers or emerging ones, but at least on a personal note, whenever I travel to festivals, I always find really grounding moments in watching something from the past, because you have an opportunity to make those connections from a film from our own history and see how it then connects with something you're watching that's new. So I really do hope that folks will come out and check out some of these anniversary screenings and help us amplify and get the word out about them. There's tickets available. There's opportunities to connect with many of the artists who are coming. Films, independent films from the 80s, 90s, and even 2000s are not always easily seen and found. Even though we have so many places to watch movies today, it can sometimes be hard to find. A film like 3 Seasons is just literally not available. A film that's one of the biggest award winners at this festival. So an opportunity to watch these films restored on a big screen with an audience, meet the artists who made them, and think about how those films have influenced and continue to influence the new films that we're going to watch is really, I think, an important kind of grounding moment for all of us at the festival.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, I was curious about this. How did the strike impact the programming, or did it, and what kind of impact did the strike have?
Well, as far as submissions go, obviously that was
not.
not.
Yeah.
And there are a few films in the program too that were made because they got the interim agreement, and there's the film Dee Dee, Sean Wang's film, and also Ghostlight by Kelly O'Sullivan and Alex Thompson that managed to get it made and got it submitted to us, and so we're excited to be showing those films.
Yeah,
I was just going to say something about Dee Dee, because last year I met Sean Wang at the Writers Lab in January, and here we are with this film. Pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. We saw him last night briefly, and how excited he is. And a film like Ghostlight is interesting because the filmmakers who made that film, they wrote Ghostlight during the pandemic, but they had been wanting to make a different film. And in the summer of the strikes, they were unable to get that film off the ground. So then they went back to Ghostlight and were able to get an interim agreement. They shot it. You'll hear today, this afternoon. I'm excited to introduce the film today. You'll hear from them if you're there. That they really shot late in the year. They shot this, kind of late summer, early fall. We're editing along the way while they were making it. Got it to us just under the wire in time for us to watch it, and we were so excited to be able to invite the film. So a few stories of films that persisted and persevered and were able to get those interim agreements so they could be here in front of us this year.
Good. Did you want to add something?
It's great to be on the other side of it. It's great that we're like the
You
first
said it.
major festival to be able to gather everyone. So we are thrilled.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad it's over. One of my other favorite things about Sundance is you get to see what's on the mind of artists around the world, and it's so amazing to me over the years how there'll be themes of what the creative people in the world are thinking about that come out in totally different stories about totally different things. And so I was wondering if each of you is there something, and sometimes it's hard to really know until after the festival, because part of the theme is the reaction to the movies, but I wondered if there's any like information about what's going on in artists' minds that you took from the either submissions and or the panelists or anything like that, or is there anything like that you think about?
I mean, we've talked, it's a great question, and it's a natural question that we get when we complete the process. Curators and programmers sometimes sort of take a step back when they get this question about themes, because the work is still so fresh, and we're also just trying to kind of find the connections that we see in the work, and sometimes in talking with you, and even for those of you that we've had the opportunity to chat with since announcing the lineup just like 6 weeks ago, you've actually helped us find some of the themes. But it is worth mentioning that we see artificial intelligence and AI as a topic and a subject that's coming up in a bunch of places. Who's going to go see Eno today at 12? Yes? Okay, good. Gary Hustwit, who's a terrific documentary filmmaker, has made, and Gary can explain it further to you, but has made what he calls and what we believe to be the first generative documentary. So if you see it today at noon, and then have the time to go back and watch it when it plays again. It will be a different experience, and it'll be a different experience the next time you see it and every time it plays here at the festival. So in that case, Gary really collaborated with AI, collaborated with technology to find a way to explore his subject in a different way. So that's one example, but then we have documentaries that explore AI as a way to sustain or support or navigate human connection. We're going to see conversations about AI. We're going to see a presentation. If any of you are here, how many of you will still be here on Tuesday? We would love to see you on Tuesday at the Egyptian for 2 performances of Being. It's going to be a really unique and one-of-a-kind festival experience, an opportunity you will have, just 2 opportunities during the festival, back-to-back at the Egyptian, to see how Rashad Newsom has collaborated with AI as a way to also engage you, the audience. So you'll be part of that experience. It will be a unique experience that I really hope you'll be able to participate in. So AI
I mean, I don't know if we would even know, any AI-generated movies, narrative movies? Do we know? Would we know?
Is this an invitation for next season?
No, I mean, I don't know. Were any movies generated by AI, do you think? Or would you know? Or?
Maybe some that were submitted, possibly.
And there's aspects in certain movies where creators are using and collaborating with AI and technology to empower sort of aspects of the filmmaking process, for sure.
Right. But directed by...
Not yet, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all about protecting, the
I know,
creators,
but I agree.
and that's essential. But it's also exciting to see it used as a tool, and that's a great tool for independent filmmakers who don't have as many means as studios. So all of a sudden they have access to.
Yeah, that's a great part about
which
AI.
is
I agree. So Joanna, since you talked at the beginning of our talk here about all the activity that Sundance has during the year. So any movies at the festival that are, I mean, of course there are movies at the festival that are results of that work, but any ones that you want to talk about?
Well, so I just mentioned Didi. So again, I met Sean at the Writers Lab last year with his script. He then went to the Directors Lab. He shot his film in the summer and then submitted to Sundance. So that's a really fast trajectory. Some people take a little longer. So excited about the American Society of Magical Negroes. Kobe Libby was also at the lab, I think, the year before, so amazing to see his film there. And then so many films that have been supported through labs. I mean, Suho, a lab that we had done in Mexico in 2019, documentaries like Igualada, Nocturnes. I mean, there's a lot of films that have been supported through Sundance, and it's great to see them here. Yes.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to ask one question for each of you, and then we'll go to questions from all of you here, or I guess remotely as well. All right, so Kim, start with you. Favorite Sundance memory of all time?
Of all time, gosh. It's really hard for me to narrow it down, but,
I think... do two.
I think that one of the wonderful things about Sundance is the collective experience we have in movie theaters. And last year, I took the opportunity to watch a film in a theater in the Eccles. I watched Flora and Son, and it was just an incredible experience to feel the energy from the audience, and that is what reminds me of what Sundance is, what we do so well, and what we will always do. And I also think that it's always it's such a privilege to do this job and to be able to help launch the careers of filmmakers. Year after year, I see a filmmaker before their movie screens, and then after, when they get that standing ovation, whatever exciting thing happens to them, they get their manager, their film gets bought, etc. And I think there are countless stories I have of those filmmakers just having their lives changed.
I mean, for me, excuse me, Jason, I'm looking over your shoulder, and on the shelf behind you is a photo of Robert Rodriguez on the lower shelf there from awards night, and you saw him in the clip, and that was 1993. El Mariachi played here in 1993. It was a transformational experience for me as an attendee. I still have the ticket at home from that experience. It was so exciting for me because Robert and his tiny crew with so few resources embodied everything that excited me about filmmaking in that moment. I had been hearing about films from Sundance in the early 90s, films like Poison by Todd Haynes or Paris is Burning by Jenny Livingston, which you saw in the clip, or Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, which these were films that just like blew me away, and I was like, I gotta go to this place where all these movies are starting, and to have the opportunity to see El Mariachi in my first year, I just felt like this is the place for me, and I met Robert. I guess there weren't a lot of Latinos at the festival that year because somebody came up to me and asked me for my autograph, thinking I was Robert, and I felt so. I didn't want to disappoint them, so I signed it. And I told Robert that, and we bonded, and you know, it was such a great, that film is just always so important to me, and really embodies just the do it yourself, do whatever you can to get your movie made aesthetic of 90s independent filmmaking, and go further, dream bigger and broader, and that's what I think Robert has done so well in his career. So that's the grounding moment for me.
For me, I mean, I used to be a producer, so I had many films at the festival, which has been a huge, privilege to have had that experience. I think there is one moment when the film ends, it's dark, and it's the first time you show it to an audience. And then you hear the applause, and you can breathe, and you feel for the next half hour while you go on stage and you have a conversation with the audience, nothing else matters. Then you want to feel like, who's buying the film? But for that half hour, it's like, it's worth it. This is why we made the film. It's for that experience. I'm sure you have felt that, Jason, as well.
Yeah, for sure. As I get in the later part of my career, my great passion in life is movies. It really is, as I was thinking about it and as we were talking about it here. And I think, one of the reasons my connection to Sundance is so personal is that our business is built on low-budget independent movies. I mean, they're released by studios, but that's what we do every day. We make low-budget independent studios, and I have such a visceral connection to what happens here, and how we choose material, and how I look at the world is so informed by Sundance. And for some reason, the most memorable thing in my head is which is more recent, was seeing Mudbound here, which I still think is just one of the most amazing movies. But the other memory that I was going to share is I did my first real acquisition here. We bought a movie called House of Yes. I started my career in acquisitions, which is another reason I'm so connected to Sundance, and so I was running around buying movies, and House of Yes is one of the first movies we really bought in kind of a competitive situation, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I was able to do it, and I have hundreds of those memories. So it's very emotional to be here, and I'm very honored to be asking all of you guys questions. So thank you for having me. And with that, we will go to the room and take some questions. Yes.
I was wondering if you could talk more about the impact of the strikes and the amount of films here, insofar as, do you think it's going to be a more active marketplace? That's my first question. Do you think it's going to be a more active marketplace? Because everybody needs products, streamers and theatrical. Part B of the question, on the theatrical side, what do you think are the more commercial sellers? Is it in fact horror? One of the highest grossing films that came out of last year was Talk to Me.
I'll take the.
So if all of you could talk about that, that'd be great.
I'll jump in on the first part of that, and obviously we're going to be reading you guys to see what, how the market plays out. To me, this program, and to have the opportunity to spend this past year shaping this festival and shaping this program with Kim and the incredible team of programmers, we have assembled a program that I think includes to a film movies that deserve to be and to find their audience. These filmmakers are ready. These films are ready for their audience. And in doing my own sort of kind of reporting the last few weeks, talking to different buyers and sellers, and checking in about how things look, I hear, and you're probably hearing this too. I mean, I hear an enthusiasm. Everyone I've talked to said they are showing up, looking to connect with and to consider films for distribution. We have a slate that is ready to meet its audience, and the industry and all of you here who are reporters and critics are part of that ecosystem to help us do that. Each of these films is ready for their moment. Yeah. So I think that we have a program that is ready.
Yeah, I would just add, there's the release schedule for the first half of the year is decimated, and I hope that particularly the theatrical distributors the market should be very, very healthy, and my hope is that a lot of the one positive thing about the strike is that a lot of movies that might have struggled shouldn't, because there's so many holes in the release schedule. So I hope that a bunch of Sundance movies wind up in theaters quickly, in the next 6 months.
And I think we have 80% of the films are open, so without a distributor. And I mean, I've been around long enough to, we go through cycles, and, sometimes everyone is like talking about it's the end of independent film. I think Sundance is always a place of renewal. It's always a place of discovery, and the films are so compelling that I think we're very hopeful that they will find a way to connect with audiences. And the measures of success are different for each film. There are many ways that these films, just by getting the attention, by connecting with audiences, by getting you to write about them, by getting representation or a sales, so there are different ways that we measure success. But what I can say in terms of the slate that the team has put together, it's a really incredible, exciting, fresh, bold slate. So excited for all of you to see the films the programming team has put together.
Anybody else? Question?
Eugene, you spoke of coming to the festival and there wasn't much diversity. Talk about how Sundance has helped to diversify what we see, out in the world, all over the world.
I appreciate the question. I feel like the program has always been diverse and inclusive, and that's what really resonated for me and drew me to this festival in the early 90s. At the same time, this was a small festival in the early 90s. Festivals were in a different place in the early 90s. And so coming to this festival as a 20-something, and when we started IndieWire in the mid-90s, three people of color who were looking for a sort of place in this industry and finding those connections here, I've seen this festival and its audience evolve and grow and diversify, just as we've seen that work happen in our industry. And I think that's been reflected so beautifully in this festival and in the work this festival has been doing and the Institute have been doing for decades to not only showcase and support stories from so many different vantage points and viewpoints and parts of the world, but also it's just been beautiful to see the audience here at the festival. Our audience is in Salt Lake. Just like walking out on the stage, introducing a film like Little Richard last year, and seeing the beautiful faces in the audience reflecting the diversity of not only that community, but so many different audiences that were really touched by that movie. So to me, it's really energizing. And Jason was joking, that we're all just like exhausted. Our team has worked so hard to get to this moment we're in right now, to start showing movies at noon today. But what energizes us is when we see you in the audience, and when we see the opportunity to connect this program that we've thought so much about, and connect it with a wide variety of folks and of audience, both here in Park City and also in Salt Lake. So I really appreciate you asking the question, because it's what propels me and so many of us at Sundance, and it's literally why we're here to do this work.
Well, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Anyone else? Wow, we answered all your questions. Yes, right in the back.
Thank you guys for coming, and thanks for being here. The question I want to have to ask you is, thank you very much. For Kim, 40th edition programming, you could have gone and picked out 40 films from all the different years. What were the criteria to pick these 8, including Mississippi Masala?
Thanks for the question, Scott. We worked with our colleague, John Nine, who's one of the senior programmers, and he works very closely with with projects that are restored. And so I think one of the guiding principles of how we chose the films to be in this year's festival is to look at what was going to make a film special, like whether it be an anniversary or a restored version that you would not be able to see anywhere else. I think that we also wanted to highlight documentaries, fiction films, filmmakers who could come to the festival too to present their work, because that's such an essential part of what we do at Sundance, and to be able to have conversations with audience members, and just films that were going to be celebratory too. Like, I cannot think of a better film than Napoleon Dynamite, that has a great local connection to Utah, and is just such a classic film. I think about this film all the time because it is so funny and so poignant and just really beautiful.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Great, amazing panel. Thank you, the incredible organization at Sundance, all the employees of Sundance. Thank you. Thank you most of all. And thank you, by the way, to everyone watching, who are online and watching us remotely. We appreciate that. We appreciate you too. But most of all, thank you to all of you for asking us questions and being curious and helping amplify a message which I think is an extraordinarily important message. And now, let's go see some movies.